right there. That's where we'll be tomorrow morning.
I was 100% handcuffed right there. There's a bigger bull in here. This is insane. That's heartbreaking right
there. We dove in after him in the thickest, nastiest stuff. We were surrounded by bulls and cows.
I literally don't know what I would do differently.
That's unbelievable. Like a lot of guys, I'd always dreamed of going out west and chasing elk around. And I had in my head that it was going to be a bucket list hunt, or maybe a couple times in my life I would have the opportunity to do that. And I started applying for some states that are tougher tags to draw and took a lot longer, but I started also looking at options that were a little bit easier draw, either that or over the counter. And I settled on Montana, which was a high odds draw, at least for the general tag. And unfortunately, my first year in 2018, I was able to draw a big game combo tag, and I started making plans for my first ever elk hunt. My goal for this first hunt, my first time elk hunting, was just to learn how to do it, learn the terrain, what it's like, learn how to call, all that type of stuff. And so we started doing research, found some public land, and I also, for the first couple days, I really just wanted to learn the ropes and then be able to take it from there. And I found a local guide, if you want to call it that tags along with you on public land, kind of shows you spots he knows, all that type of stuff. And looking back, it's just kind of funny what our experience was like. But it was good. I think the first thing we learned was the physical challenge of elk hunting, right? It was, an older gentleman, and he was smoking cigarettes like it was his job, and he was still running circles around us. It was myself, Drake, and one of our interns, Mitch, and he was just, it was everything we could to keep up with him going up and down these mountains. But I don't think the couple days he hunted with us, I don't think we saw a single elk. But we ran into a couple local guides there that kind of pointed us in a different direction than the public piece we were hunting. They recommended going to a place that was a few hours south. Thought it would be better hunting and more worth our time of driving 20 hours out there to chase elk. So we drove through the night after a couple days chasing elk and just went out on our own and tried to find them. And we had some really good hunts. I was amazed at the amount of hunters that we encountered on public land. I mean, it was more hunters than I encountered on the whitetail side in the Midwest. I mean, there were just hunters dumping down everywhere on horseback, ATVs. I mean, it was everything we could do to decipher between every bugle we heard was another hunter. We called in one hunter at one point. It was just amazing. But nevertheless, we did get into some elk. No shot opportunities that first year, but again, my goal that first year in 2018 was just learn how to do it, learn what elk hunting is like, and try to apply that in the future years. The following year, 2019, I was lucky enough to get another elk tag in Montana. During the course of the off season, I had met a guy who's become a really good friend of mine now, but he grew up in Montana hunting out there, and he introduced me to a property and a landowner that was right next to some public land. And this landowner allows people to hunt. He's just it's a cattle ranch basically that goes up into the mountains. Really cool piece of property. The unique thing is though, he also allows other people to hunt, so you never know if you're going to be the only one there. There's going to be other hunters, but nevertheless, this is what we set out to do in 2019, was to try out this new property. It was right next to the public, and we actually camped on the public and would drive down around to get into this property and go back up the mountain. So even though I didn't hunt the same exact spot as I did the first year, I felt a lot further along because I was able to apply some of that knowledge, just some of that elk hunting experience as I went into the second year. Once again, we had some really good hunts. It was really slow at the beginning, and my buddies had told me, and just from other people that elk hunt a lot, that it can be like a light switch. When they turn on, they're on, but until they do, you're not going to hear a lot of bugles. You may not see a lot of elk. And the thing about this property is there's a ton of really good cover. So unless they get out into an opening, it's hard to glass them. And if they're not making noise, they're not screaming, it's really hard to locate them. And that's what we experienced for the first few days of the trip. But just like they said, it was a light switch, and the last couple days were phenomenal hunting. We had one really good encounter right at the end of the trip. We thought we were gonna have a really good chance at this bull. We just couldn't pull him into the opening for a shot.
I guess they were more like this, in this direction. They're all the way on the other side. He's down that bottom.
Hearing that bull scream at us at such a close distance is something you just can't describe. It was such a cool experience, and if I wasn't hooked before, I definitely was now after that encounter. Another really cool thing that came out of this trip, I mentioned that other people can also get permission to hunt this piece, and it's not a very big piece, at least for Western standards. So if someone's hunting there, you'll know it, you'll run into them eventually. And that was the case. We ran into a local couple, Zach and his wife Megan, and have since become really good friends with them. It was a lot of fun just hanging out with them. They hunted with us a little bit. They had a lot more experience, so we were able to learn from them. Zach was able to call for us. So that was really cool. That was a big time benefit of that trip, even though Josh and myself and Grant went home empty-handed. Once again, we learned a lot, and I couldn't wait to get back out there the following year. So 2020 rolls around, and I'm fortunate enough to draw another big game combo tag in Montana, and man, the anticipation is high. My plan was to go back, meet up with Zach and Megan again, and get on that same piece that we hunted the year before. And having that knowledge of just how that property lays, how the elk tend to use it, different locations where we had encounters, was huge. It gave me a lot of confidence going into my third year of elk hunting. This was all just a kind of cut your teeth experience. I feel like we learned so much every single day we were out there for the previous 2 years. Now I told myself I'm not leaving Montana for the third year in a row empty-handed. I'm gonna, one way or another, get it done. See that peak right there? That's where we'll be tomorrow morning. But we'll try the elk first. I was aiming for that little yellow dot.
That's the heart.
That's not good enough for you, Chase?
That's good.
You want me to center it up even more? After a long day of traveling, we got camp all set up, and man, we can't wait for the morning. And in fact, we saw a pretty good sized herd along with a decent bull right there from camp. And even though that wasn't where we were hunting or could hunt, it definitely got us fired up. As it got light on our first day of our hunt, the strategy was just get to the high point of the mountain and glass, try to find some elk. and right away we found a good herd. They were a long ways away up the other side of the mountain, but we were ready to get after it. We decided to make the move and see if we could catch up to them. Unfortunately, we weren't able to, which is often the case. It's so hard to get in front of those herds, and they were going away from us. But we got close to that area. We decided to kind of leave them alone, let them bed down for the midday hours. But as we were kind of working our way back down the mountain, we came across a water hole that had some good sign around it. And as hot as it was, we knew this could potentially be a spot that they come to that afternoon. All right, it's first afternoon here. We had a pretty productive morning. We didn't have any close encounters, but I would definitely call it a productive morning. We saw a lot of elk, probably more than any other day that I've hunted here. So we think we have a pretty good game plan of going to get on these, and hopefully they're kind of doing the opposite of what they did this morning, and that way we can be set up kind of the bowl that they went through. So we're going to get up there. It's hot, but we're going to get up there, set up early. One of the nice things about this property that I got permission on is it allows access by UTV, so we can at least get the UTVs up the mountain, and then we can hike from there into our spot. So gonna get the Kubota unloaded and head up the mountain. Well, it is 4:45 right now. And after much debate, we are finally settled in on a setup spot. Where we last saw the elk this morning, heading up to bed, was basically at the top of this hill over my left shoulder. I'd say we last saw him probably 300 yards away from where we're set up right now. When we were coming out, we did find a little water source, a little water tank down here. And there's a bunch of sign around, a bunch of beat down trails. As hot as it is today, I have a hard time not believing those elk are gonna come, at least some of them, come down and visit that. What took so long to decide on our setup is just, there's so much ground they can obviously go through. There's a lot of openings, and they seem to not always keep the same pattern. So we're just trying to set up the most likely spot where we could potentially call a bull off of all these cows. We saw the good one this morning in here, and then of course the swirling winds, just typical of these spots on the mountain like this. But I would say 80% of the time it's been good so far, and hopefully it just gets better as the night goes. So as I say that, we get a big gust going right towards where we think the elk are. But man, the anticipation is high tonight. I got Megan and Zach and Chase set up probably 40 yards from Grant and I. They have the cow decoy set up. They'll do most of the calling over there to try to pull the bull past Grant and I. We'll see. I can't wait. This is the first evening. Evenings are typically better out here in our previous experiences, so let's hope that stays true, and hopefully we can get one close. A couple minutes before 6:30, we had a bull sound off. I don't know, I'd say within 200 or 300 yards of us. And it wasn't a full bugle, it was just kind of one of those, it almost sounded like kind of get up out of bed and let one loose type of bugle, some chuckles in there. But since then, he's bugled a couple more times. We got Zach moving up the hill, cow calling, trying to hopefully bring him up here. I would doubt that he's alone, he's probably got cows with him, but the hope is to draw him up this little valley. It seems like an easy route for him to take. I think he's probably going to the water, ain't he? I still don't see another one. I could have sworn I saw another one. There's one at the water hole. Oh God, right at us.
He's coming now. Yeah. That's the one I want. I'll shoot that one. Yep. I still don't know that that's one that's bugling. I think so. I think he's just drinking water that's running down. He's not at the water. If he acts like he's gonna come up over here. Another smaller bull right there. Not a shooter. He's closer to us though. That's him. I got sight if I'll shoot this one. He's got stuff hanging in his antlers.
The one that's closest to us.
Yeah. They're both coming. Alright, back one's coming. Yeah. Yeah. No. I was 100% handcuffed right there. That's heartbreaking right there. I literally don't know what I would do differently. I could not draw. He was far enough back I couldn't draw early and just wait. But this one,
Was he at 35?
he was inside of that.
That was so intense.
I mean, what? That one's gonna haunt me. Why did he have to spend so much time at the water hole? He allowed that other bull to come. That's killed us. That little bull killed us. He's got a great bugle on him, but he killed us.
It's a little after 9 o'clock. We just made it down the mountain back to the trucks. And in that time, I've replayed it about 1,000 times in my head of what I could have done differently as far as getting the full draw. But it was just a perfect storm of things just not happening at the right time when that 6x6 came up the hill. You know, we watched that 6x6 for a long time down by the watering hole, and he stayed there forever, it seemed like, and basically allowed the 5x5 to come in and lead the way up to us. If the 6x6 would have came up, it would have been game over, easy 30-yard broadside shot. But instead, the 5x5 led him by at least 50 yards. And so it created this dilemma of when to draw. And I decided to wait and hope the 5x5 would work past us. But unfortunately, he held up for whatever reason, I'm not sure. And then it was just about trying to at least get drawn at some point, but I knew it was probably too late. They were on high alert at that point. My only other option would have been to draw really early before they got up the hill, but I probably would have been holding it full draw for 3 or 4 minutes if that was the case. So I didn't necessarily want to take myself out of the game before we were even in the game. Man, it hurts though. It just seems like everything has to work perfectly, and it did tonight. And it seems like those opportunities are so few and far between. So it is night one. Hopefully that's not our only opportunity, but it definitely hurts to have that one get away. But just an incredible night, by far the best night of elk hunting I've ever had. Zach did an incredible job on the calling. He ran up and down the ridge, did everything perfect with regards to just getting all those bulls to come in. He had bulls within bow range for him too, so they're definitely in there. And I'm sure tonight won't be the only time we hunt there. So time to regroup tonight, hopefully get some sleep, and we'll be back out here in the morning. Tonight the night?
Tonight is definitely the night for sure.
Grant?
That's gotta be the night.
Zach?
Yes.
You ready to run the mountains again?
Yes.
How many up and downs do you have in you?
Zach might need to like
More than I had last night. I had 2 power ranks.
It's afternoon number 2 here in Montana. We are heading back to the same spot we were last night. We know there's some bulls in that area, obviously. Had a good night last night, just some bad luck. We're heading back in. Megan had to go back to school, so it's just the boys tonight. We might alter our setup just a little bit, just so we can shoot a little earlier, instead of waiting for the bulls to come all the way up to us. But hoping for another good night. It's a lot calmer. There's basically no wind right now, at least right here. We'll see what happens when we get up that side of the mountain. We're looking forward to hopefully having another opportunity tonight.
It just seems like all those, I bet they were betting in those cottonwoods down there. It just seems like everything was coming right. Yeah. After seeing it from that side, it makes a lot of sense. And that's why they're at.
that bull was bugling in there this morning.
In the heart of it, yeah.
was.
There's cows. And then they acted like their gecko was open at the bottom of the hill. When I last saw them, they were angling this way. Wait, stop. Don't move.
See the one standing right there?
He's right. He just came in the opening. Yeah. Oh. Good. Yeah. I don't know that I hit him. I didn't see him, but it was going perfect.
Well, here we go again. Yet another epic night of elk hunting and no elk to show for it. It's been incredible. Compared to last year, this property is just on fire for whatever reason right now. There seems to be so many elk, and it's fun to watch them getting fired up. You know, Zach, once again, him and Chase ran around a whole bunch behind Grant and I, and we're pulling bulls all different directions. I mean, it's a tough situation because he can't see what's going on. We don't necessarily know what they're doing either, other than just hearing their vocal changing as he's bugling and cow calling. But it's just chaos in there now. There's so many elk. It was so fun, and of course, like I said, no elk to show for it. That good bull towards the end, he was cutting down below us, and I ranged him at 50 yards. We were able to get him stopped. I came to full draw and settled in and came out just to make sure that I had a clear shooting lane, settled back in, let the arrow fly, and I can just picture it. The arrow was just flying perfectly. If the shot felt amazing. Actually, Grant and I, after the shot, we kind of started to celebrate a little bit. I was still nervous because the bull didn't act like he was hit, but both of us watching that arrow flight, you couldn't have placed it any better, it seemed. But we watched the footage in slow motion. It looks like you can see a little bit of a flash of a light go to the right. So I went down there where the bull was standing, and sure enough, there's a twig about 5 yards from him, so 45 yards from where I shot. And my broadhead skimmed the side of it, and the arrow kicked off in front of the bull somewhere. So while I'm thankful that it didn't kick off and wound him or hit him poorly, it's still a bummer that, you know, it could have been an incredible ending to these 2 days of elk hunting. And, you know, Zach and Grant and Chase just been putting in the time and effort, and would love to have the reward that we're looking for and be able to put an elk on the ground. But those kind of things happen, and I know that, but it doesn't lessen the sting at all. Just once again, like last night, it's time to regroup, and we'll be back out in the morning. We're starting to create a pretty interesting little story here, starting to see some of the bulls multiple times, and it feels like it will happen at some point, but man, I don't know. You don't get too many encounters and too many chances, so hopefully we're not out of them, and hopefully tomorrow will be just as good of a day. It's the third afternoon, and we're in position on the bull we were trying to kill the first night. We actually spotted him this morning from the top of the other mountainside, and we were coming in to set up on him for the evening, expect him to move out, and he had already moved a few hundred yards to the west.
we actually spotted him as we were coming down the fence line. He's bugled probably 5 or 6 times in the last 5 minutes. And so we got Zach, who just got off work. He's coming down right now to do some calling back behind us. See if we can pull him this way. I know he's got cows with him. We'll see. I hope he's fired up, and hopefully Zach can sweet talk him over here. We got a cow coming in. I think so, yeah. Yeah, we're gonna see her in a minute.
We were able to obviously find back the main target bull we were trying to get after, which was good, but the rest of the evening was pretty slow. Most of the elk stayed off of the property that we have permission to hunt. So we're at the halfway point of the trip, and this whole thing's just like one big puzzle. We're putting the pieces together slowly, and we're having incredible hunts and learning something every day. And at this point we didn't know, but the best elk hunting of our trip was yet to come.